Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Daily Standup. My name is Lee Henson, President and CEO of Agile Dad. And for this morning's session, I thought we'd talk about how to get to know your Agile team better and why soft skills matter. Without further ado, let's get started. Some people say when I walk into organizations to do coaching or when one of our coaches enter the organization, one of the common themes that we hear is that people just aren't good at communication, that there's lots of communication gap, and there's lots of opportunities that could be had if people just learned how to talk better to each other. When things are going very well, obviously communication is perfect. Everyone wants to talk to each other. They're excited about things going well, but it's especially not so good when things go south. When things are not how they're supposed to be or things don't go as planned, people are always quick to play blame and lay shame and to point the finger at someone and say, hey, it's this person's fault, or it's this group's fault, or this team's fault. I was hoping to talk today a little bit about how to avoid or get past that and the type of relationship that both the Scrum Master and Product Owner should form with the team. One of my discoveries is that if you have an empathetic Scrum Master and Product Owner, it typically enhances team communication and creates an environment where psychological safety and radical candor prevail. One of my discoveries also is that this isn't so hard to do, but for some people it's not something that comes naturally. There are some people who are just naturally empathetic and they're easy to speak to and easy to understand exactly how you're feeling. Now, there's a difference between empathy and sympathy. Sympathetic is an opportunity for us to really dig in and share in someone's grief or pain or share in someone's experience, where empathy is to be able to say, hey, I understand how you're feeling, and I may not have the exact same feeling as you, but I want you to know that I've walked a mile in your shoes. And I think that empathy is the key here. With empathy, one of the things that I've discovered is a very valuable tool that I teach in my Advanced Certified Scrum Master and my Advanced Certified Scrum Product Owner class. And one of those is so there's 3 steps that you could do in order to make this work. The first step is to make certain that you connect with your team and break down any walls that you have personally. So how does that work? One of the exercises that I do in my class is an exercise called Ask Anything. There are only 3 rules to Ask Anything. The first rule is you can ask me anything as long as you come in with the understanding that I have no filter. I am going to openly and clearly express how I feel, what I think, what my opinions are, and I encourage everyone else to do the same after I do. Number 2, I want you to ask me questions, but I want them to be safe questions. And I don't mean safe in a sense that you can't be open. I mean safe in a sense that it doesn't make anyone else feel uncomfortable. So I usually set some boundaries, work-safe boundaries, if you will. And then 3 is probably my favorite. Make it something I can answer in 30 seconds or less. By doing so, it gets the opportunity to the team for them to ask questions and to get to know me personally, to get to know about my life, to get to know about what's happening. While this sounds very simple, for many people it's hard. It's hard to open up, it's hard to express yourself, but my promise to you is when you do, that's when you're going to have the best relationship with the team, because the team will know that you're an open book and that you're trying to help them be successful. The second step is, once you've got that open relationship with the team, is to encourage open communication between them, amongst them, and within groups. Whether it's doing group outings together from time to time with other teams or taking your team out for a team lunch. Once again, it sounds really simple, but for some people, this just is either not present or the opportunities don't arise, and it doesn't always mean that companies are going to support this and pay for this. So sometimes you might find that each person's paying their own way, or that you're doing a brown bag educational type lunch. Any which way, it's still fine. But I think the third step is probably the most important, and it's take opportunities to get to know each team member that you're working directly with a little more intimately. Now, while that might sound creepy on the surface, once you better understand where I'm going with this, it'll be easy. One of the opportunities that I tell my Scrum Masters to do specifically is, without having a scheduled planned meeting, without having something on a calendar to approach each team member individually and say, hey, Susie, can we go for a walk? Or hey, Mark, let's take a quick break. And take them outside of the desk environment where they are, or the pod environment where they are. Maybe take a walk outside if it's a beautiful day. And ask them one of these 3 very targeted questions. So the first question is, if you wake up in the morning, or when you wake up in the morning, what's the one thing that excites you the most about what you do? What's the one thing that energizes you? What's the one thing that uplifts you and makes you excited to come to work each day? For some, this might be very simple things. For others, it might be a series of things. For some, it might be hard to think of anything. I think it's just important for us to know what motivates and drives team members. In a separate engagement, at a different time with a different person, once again unplanned just like the first, you might approach someone and ask, hey, tell me, what's the one thing that makes you wish you had an eternal snooze button on your clock? What's the one thing that you really hate doing? What's the one thing that drives you crazy about work? If I could take one thing off your plate and lift it completely, what might that be? And this is the one that's going to surprise you. For some people, the changes that they'd like are just so simple and so easy, yet they're often overlooked. This is a good opportunity for you to learn what makes people feel disenfranchised or disenchanted. It's an opportunity for you to understand better what to avoid when you're in conversation with this person, or how to help them feel best about what they're doing. The third is probably the most intuitive, but the one everyone forgets to ask. Are you happy doing what you're doing? If you remember in the movie Aladdin, a hit Disney movie, Aladdin uses his third wish to set the genie free. I know what you're thinking, how on earth does this relate? But it does. If you give that person an opportunity by asking this question, are you happy doing what you do? Do you love your job? After all, in many cases, especially in companies where project management has been a hit item for a long time, you may have to ask yourself, how did that person become a project manager? In many cases, it's where an executive or leader walked over and said, hey, I need one of you to be the project manager. 1, 2, 3, not it. Nose goes. And the last person in is, oh, crap, now I'm the project manager. So what happens next? Now that person, they've been gifted the role of project manager, which they never asked for and never wanted. And every day they come to work, their will to live is slowly being sucked away. This is a bad situation. One of the things that I've discovered about this person is they say, oh, great, I hate it, but I'm going to do the best I can because I want to get it over with. So what happens when they perform well? They get bestowed more project management duties and responsibilities, or additional projects, and it's the pile it on syndrome, where when someone's really good at what they do, you pile it on, even if it's something that they hate. But yet, when you speak to this individual, the thing that's so interesting, is in many cases, this individual's the first to say, if I could do anything, if you could change my role completely, I'd love to just go back to what I was originally doing before. And I think it's just so important for us to recognize that and to allow that to happen. We want people to feel comfortable in their shoes and love what they're doing, and it's not necessarily a demotion or a promotion or exchange of duties or roles and responsibilities. I think the key here is to look past the title and to start treating people like humans, and people with dignity, and respect their workplace, respect their wishes, and help them to be successful in every opportunity that they have. I hope you've enjoyed the second installment of the Daily Stand-Up. It's been a good one for me, and I want to make sure we stay within our time box. I appreciate you listening in each day. Tune in tomorrow for some more exciting information, and as always, stay healthy, stay well, stay agile. And until next time, this is Lee Henson with Agile Dad. Take care, and make today the best.